Morning, everyone. I hope that you are as excited to be here as I am, although I highly doubt that's possible because I am fired up to be here in front of you today talking about a little tidbit that has had a huge impact on my happiness and success over the past couple years. And that little tidbit is the topic of my conversation today, which is don't like them, don't work with them. Only work with teammates that you like, and it's really going to improve your happiness and success. So I'd like to start off today by just giving a brief overview of the talk. I'm going to give an introduction. I'm going to talk a little bit about me and my company and what we do. And then I'm going to delve into two different types of teammates. So we consider a teammate anyone that you work with or have any interaction with in the workplace. The two types of teammates that I'm really going to delve into are your internal teammates, which are going to be your employees or coworkers, and your customers or clients, which we consider extremely important teammates. I know some people might think of them as the people we sell products to, and they're separate from your team, but we consider our clients extremely important members of our team. How many of you in the audience have a head on your shoulders? This is pretty good. About 90% of the audience has a head on their shoulders. This is actually a good sign. Most audiences, about 65%, have a head, which is amazing to me, but that's how it works. So you guy over there, I don't know what's going on. I see it. I just didn't get a hand. All right, so the next question for you. I'd like to get a feel for the people in the audience. How many of you in here are college students? Any college students? Small amount of college students. Still living it up. Enjoy it while it lasts. What percentage of you are entrepreneurs? You own your own business, run your own business. Oh, that's a good percentage of the room. That's great. That's great. Keep on keeping on. Fighting the good fight. And what percentage of you in here have a job where you're working for someone else, traditional day job? Great. Keep on keeping on. Well, that's great. That gives me a really good insight into the makeup of the room. The next question is really the most important one, which is how many of you are happy with your current job or working situation? Wow. That's actually pretty impressive. I'd say that's 80% of the room. That normally doesn't happen. John, I got a hand? But that's great. A lot of my talk is going to be framed around happiness. I think that happiness is a key definer of true success. And I think that you can be successful without hitting the true, what society thinks is successful if you are truly happy. So that's how I'm going to frame a lot of our talk today. It's funny because, some constants in your life, the desire to be happy is really a constant in our life. So in the book, Happiness Hypothesis by Jonathan Haidt, he mentions this phenomenon where if you ask anyone what their goal is, like my goal this year is to buy 600 houses. So you ask me what my goal is, and then with a follow-up question, you ask me why that's my goal. I'm going to give you another answer, to deliver great returns to my clients. But if you keep asking me that question, why, the final answer that you'll almost always get to is to be happy. Because that's really the reason we do what we do. That desire to be happy is a constant in all of our lives. Another constant in our lives, besides death and taxes, is work, right? Either fortunately or unfortunately, however you think about it. For me, it's fortunately, because I love what I do. But work is a constant. And the average person spends 36% of their waking hours working. So if you're not happy in your job, there's a pretty slim probability that you're going to be happy in life. So it's very important to be happy in your job. And also, being happy in your job will raise the profitability of your job and your company. There's been a bunch of books written recently, such as What Happy Companies Know and Contented Cows Still Give Better Milk, that really discuss this phenomenon of the companies that have happier employees do make more money. In Contented Cows, the authors Richard Haddon and Bill Catlett, they performed this study where they found that if you look at all the publicly traded companies and you take the 100 that were named best places to work, they outperformed the S&P 500 and the Russell Index by a 4-to-1 ratio from the period from 1997 to 2010. They were 4 times as profitable as companies that weren't in the best places to work. So it's pretty clear that being happy in your job, having happy employees directly contributes to that bottom line, which is something that we strive to do in our business. So my business, what I do, I'm the owner and president of JWB Real Estate Capital. We're a real estate investment company based in Jacksonville, Florida. How did I get to Jacksonville? I was born in Massachusetts, moved to Orlando when I was 16, went to the great University of Florida. Go Gators! 01 through 05. And immediately after graduating, I moved to Jacksonville to start this company with my best friend from high school and college, Greg. What we do is we provide passive real estate investments for our clients. So if someone has $100,000 in a bank account, instead of buying stocks or investing in bonds, they can give it to me, and ideally I'm going to make them more money than they would have in those other investments. How we actually do that is we buy distressed houses or lots, foreclosures, things like that, and we renovate those houses or build new houses, rent them out, and then eventually sell them to create an income stream of which our investors get a portion. And luckily, we've been very, very successful over the past couple of years at actually delivering some pretty great returns to our investors. Now, of course, I started in real estate in 2005. You guys have known what's happened in real estate since 2005. It hasn't been pretty. But I really gauge the real estate market not by numbers or statistics or silly things like that, but by people's reactions to me when I tell them that I'm in real estate. So 2 years ago, you laugh. 2 years ago, if I met someone at a party, let's say I'm meeting some imaginary guy, Bill. I'm like, hey, Bill, how's it going? He's like, hey, Alex, nice to meet you. And Bill asked me what I do. I say, I own a real estate company. 2 years ago, this was Bill's reaction. Oh, are you okay? He's reaching for his wallet, like, do you need some money? I can buy you a hamburger. Do you want me to? And I'm like, no, Bill, I'm all right, thank you. So despite the real estate market over the past years, our company has been growing and thriving. As Kristen said, we were named the 12th fastest growing real estate company in the country in 2012 by Inc. magazine, number 25 overall in Florida of all companies, number 362 of all companies in the country. And what that looks like, just to give you guys some numbers to that, number 12 ranking. In 2008, we had $525,000 in revenue. In 2012, we had $15.8 million in revenue. In 2008, there was 4 total people working for us. In the beginning of 2012, we had 17 people working for us. We currently, because we hired 2 people yesterday, thank God, we have 31 people working with us right now. And we're still hiring for 8 different positions currently. So we've been growing very quickly. One of the problems with growing so quickly is that you need people to sustain the growth. So we realized early on that finding and retaining top quality talent was going to be a key to our growth. And we were, well, how do we do that? So we read a lot, and a lot of the principles that I'm talking about came from the book Delivering Happiness by Tony Hsieh. Anyone in here read that? A phenomenal book. Everyone should definitely read that book if they haven't read it yet. So we decided that the best way to be able to attract and retain top talent was to build an amazing culture in our office. And so we do a lot of things in our office. Not yet. So one clarification I want to make. When I say that you want to work with people you like, you don't want to work with everyone you like. So in this example, you have a big circle, which is people that I like. Those are some of my dear friends that I love, but I would never work with. If you have friends that drink PBR out of a 2-foot straw, you probably don't want to work with them. Also, just to let you guys know, they have no idea that I use this picture. I pulled this off of Facebook like 3 days ago. So just goes to show you, don't put anything on the internet that you don't want out there in the world. So you have people that you like, and then you have a much smaller circle of people that you like that you would work with. So I wanted to make that clarification before I move on. So we in our office, JW Real Estate Capital, we need to decide how to create this great culture. And so we do things like we give the entire office a half day once a month to go do some volunteering activity together, where we go build a house for Habitat, like that's down here, that's building a house for Habitat. We go do beach cleanup, or we go read to kids in school, or something like that. And another thing we do is that we provide lunch for the office every day. So every day we cater lunch for our office, and we have a big table, we put the food in the middle, and everyone sits around and eats lunch together. We call it family lunch. And this is great because we all like working with each other. And the only reason this is possible is because we actually like working with each other. So in addition to doing some of these things, what we figured out in order to create this great culture is that it was going to be really easy to do if we just hired people that we liked. We just worked with people that we liked. Of course, the assumption that you're making is that you're a good person and that you're going to like good people. But I'm going to roll with that one. We're going to be good with that assumption. And it's that easy, is that if you work with people that you like, you're going to create this great culture. So what we do in our office to create this great culture and to find these people that we like is interview the crap out of people. Kristen told me I couldn't swear, so I hope that wasn't considered a swear word. Another part of our office culture, and is actually, they did a study on this in Inc. magazine. They found that swearing in the office actually contributes to employee satisfaction. Swear. It's part of our culture at JWB. So what we do is we have a very defined and strict interview process that we do in order to make sure that we're only hiring people that we like. So we need to make sure our internal teammates are the most important facet, the most important teammate that you're working with. We need to make sure that we like working with them. And so we have an extremely strict interview process that we do. So first you get a phone screen. So we screen people on the phone. We do a 15-minute phone interview. We do an 1.5 to 2 hour panel interview where the candidate is interviewed and grilled by 2 of the senior level people in our company. And then we do some pretty stringent skills and personality testing. And that's just the first half. So that's the part of the interview to pass, so we know they can do the job. That's to test their skills. The next interview that we do is a culture interview. So we sit down with them. What we do actually is we go to Starbucks. It's a very intimidating interview. This is the hard part of the interview. We go to so here's Starbucks in the background. We go to Starbucks with 4 senior level people in the company and the candidate, and we just have a conversation with them for an hour, 2 hours about their personal life, about what they do. We get to know them and figure out if that's something that I want to spend 10 hours a day with. That's the normal working day at JWB. For me, it's much more, but for everyone else, it's about 10 hours. So do we want to spend that much time with that person? And it's amazing, but the culture interview is one of the hardest part of the interviews, to get all of these 4 people to agree that they actually like the person. So to give you guys some insight into our culture interview, I got a present for you. I asked everyone in the company to send me the best questions that they were asked in their culture interview. So I'm gonna give you guys 10 example questions that we ask people in our culture interviews. It's not a top 10, it's just 10. So these are questions that we asked to the candidate. Number 1, please tell us your favorite dirty joke, and you better make us laugh. Number 2, what is the last book you read? Tell us about it. Number 3, would you get upset if you heard the F word at work? Number 4, what is your favorite musical? Number 5, how do you feel about beards? A couple months ago, we had this severe beard phenomenon going on at the office. I even got involved. I'd never grown a beard before. This one's dangerous. Who is the best man at your wedding, and what is the most ridiculous story that he would tell about you? Yeah, got some people reliving some college days right now. What do you do outside of work to relieve stress? Do you think that you could beat Adam? Adam is our CFO. Do you think that you could beat Adam in a foot race? What is the most fun you ever had volunteering? The last one, on a scale of 1 to 10, how upset will you be when we viciously make fun of your Boston accent? So, those are some examples of typical questions that we ask in our culture interviews. And we won't hire a person if they don't obviously pass the skills training and all 4 people in the culture interview approve them. So it's quite a process to get hired, but we think that even though right now we're overworked because we're understaffed, that in the long run, because we're planning on building this business for the next 10, 20, 30 years, in the long run, our culture and our happiness of our employees and our ability to retain people is going to be what drives our growth. And so that's more important than being overworked in the short term and not being able to hire, because we're very picky about who we hire. So that's what we do with our internal teammates. But we interview everyone. So the next group of teammates I'm going to talk about is our clients and our customers. So clients and customers, the difference to me is if you're in a service industry or a product industry. So in a service industry, you have clients, you're trying to build a relationship for a long period of time. In a product industry, you have customers who you sell stuff to, and it might be less important that you like them to sell them something. I don't recommend you interview someone for a week before you sell them a pair of shoes. If you're a shoe dealership, Diana, whoever you're out there, shoe designer. But in that case, if you do have a product industry, then it would be very important for your vendors, like your manufacturer and your distributor. It'd be very important for you to like them to make sure that you keep that culture at your office going. And it'll increase your productivity and profits in the long run if you only work with people that you like. So for our clients, we interview our clients as well. What we found is that sometimes dream clients can turn out to be the worst clients possible. I mean, I'm sure we've all had this guy, right? This client, he's never going to be happy no matter what. It's not about the product, it's not about the service. He's just a bad, angry person. We want to weed out these type of people. So what we do, I'd like to tell you a story about someone that seemed like they were going to be a great client but turned out not to be. So a couple years ago, we had a call. Actually, the call came into me from an investor in Australia who wanted to buy properties in Jacksonville, investment properties, which is what we do. And he had $1 million in cash that he was looking to buy properties with. Now, someone with $1 million in cash is normally a really good client for us. We could sell him 12 properties. Our average profit is $18,000 a property. He's worth about $200,000 in net profits to our company. Seems like a great client. So I called up my business partner, Greg. I'm like, hey, Greg, you got to get out there. You got to meet this guy. Let's lock this up. So Greg went, and he didn't freak out like I did. He didn't put the cart before the horse. And he sat down. And he went through our interview process with our client. And he found out that this guy was not a good fit at all, no matter how much money he had or how much money we could have made off of him. Found out that he would not tell us what his goals were. He would not let us know what he was looking for. He wanted to have input into the process to the point of picking out paint colors. He was combative when we asked him questions. Just in general, not someone that we would want to work with and have as a client for the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And so Greg told him, I'm sorry, but I don't think this is going to be a good fit. You're going to have to find investment property somewhere else. Which in the short term was a $200,000 loss to us, but in the long run, what we gain in employee morale by not having to deal with him, and in overall customer satisfaction by not having him posting negative things about us on the internet, it was worth it to cut the cord where we did. So there's a couple important things when interviewing a client that we look at. The first one, in interview a client, you need to know their goals. So you need to figure out what they're looking for to figure out if your service is going to be a good fit for them. And so that's what we do, to figure out if we're going to like the client that is trying to work with us. So we find out what they want. For our business, it's figure out what kind of returns they're looking for. And are they saving for retirement, or do they want current income so they can quit their job, those sort of things. And what their expectations are. So when we figure out what their expectations and goals are, then we can figure out if our product is a good fit for them. And if it is, we really don't need to sell anything. By asking them questions, you guide them through the process, and they'll figure out that it is a good fit. But if they're not, if what they're looking for, their goals and expectations don't meet what we do, they're going to weed themselves out of the process. And that's a good thing for us in the long run, because we only want to work with clients that we're going to like working with. Now, I know that a lot of my talk, because I am a business owner, was framed kind of for business owners. But this principle of only working with people that you like applies to every single person in this room. If you're a kid just graduating college and you're going to your first job interview, before you take that job, do your own culture interview on them. Figure out if you're going to like working there. Because if you're not, you're not going to be happy. And in the long run, turning down that job and finding a job you're going to be happy at is going to make you more money and make you happier in the long run if you work with people that you like. I'd really like to thank you guys for listening to me today. And if you have any questions about real estate or anything like that, my email up there, alex@jwcompanies.com. And really appreciate everyone. And I hope that you guys did have some great takeaways from today that you can apply to your life to make you happier and more profitable.